like this, I have it on standby, ready to go because it could be useful. So here we are. Very
Drummond now, and it's just fabulous.
It's surprisingly good. Now, just manoeuvre this out of the harbour and we'll see how we get on. It'd be easier if I took off my reading glasses, wouldn't it? I'll be able to see where I'm going. So we're just leaving Drummond Harbour. We've been there for the past 2 days and 2 nights. And that kind of really brings me to another point. Is one of the biggest problems that people have on boats is batteries, and batteries keeping a charge and all the rest. And Victron have, through Euromotive in Carrick-on-Shannon, are after supplying us with a new type of battery. The other way you normally have your wet lead acid batteries, and then the other end of the spectrum you have lithium batteries. But what we're using is something that's little middle ground. They're called Victron Super Cycle AGM batteries. I think AGM stands for Absorbed Glass Mat. And we fitted them there about 3 days ago. And
but they're not brand new now.
They're not brand new. These have been tested by Victron. They've spent a few months just dropping the charge out of them as much as they can, building it up again and putting them through the mill. So they've given them to us now with instructions to do likewise. Put them through the mill and see how well they fare out. We're going to do a full video on that at a later stage. But they're a mid-range kind of battery in that they're not as good as lithium, but bloody hell, they're not as expensive either. You might be able to see from the wash behind me there. If I step to one side, I'm kind of giving it a bit of throttle at the moment. And what we do with the engines on Driftwood they're two 125 horsepower engines. So normally we're putting along, and diesel engines don't like to be driven gently. Cheers, guys.
Drinking tea, aren't we? We go through some amount of tea.
Well, I move that around to make sure you can see it. So every once in a while they start to get quite smoky, and the cure to that is just to give them a bit of throttle, make them work hard. And you can't really do that in too many places, but you can do it out here in the lake because it doesn't really make the boat go a whole lot faster. It just makes a bigger wash, burns more diesel, but it is actually good for the engines every once in a while to do that. And so that's what I'm doing now, because otherwise, if we don't do it every now and then, we end up with quite smoky engines. So it's nice to do it, isn't it? Look,
gorgeous.
Beautiful day.
The restrictions were lifted a couple of days ago that you can go outside your own county now. So the river is very, very quiet. But they're saying from Friday all the harbour boats will be out. So we're going to really enjoy the peace and tranquility now because there's nobody else around.
But you miss not having that. We have never found ourselves, it's now the middle of May, we've been in Drummond Harbour for 2 days. One other boat came in and out, and would you believe we were snoozing. We'd sat down middle of the afternoon, we'd been on a long walk, we were reading our books, and you know the way you get down and you just get lazy. We conked out. And as we woke up, there's a boat leaving the harbour. And so the only visitor we got in 2 days we missed, which are look. But hopefully that's incredible for to have a harbour like that to ourselves in the middle of May, like it's, you know. So hopefully this weekend will be a little bit like somebody turning a switch and the river will come to life again.
Well,
meanwhile,
the forecast is not great for the weekend, but then again,
yeah, it's not great, but look, it's the first opportunity people will have had to go boating, so fingers crossed. So where we're heading to now, we're heading to a little bay up here, and there's a mooring buoy in that bay, and we're going to tie up to that, and we might have a little bit of lunch there and we chill out. Tell you more about that in a second. So between Loch Bodurg and Loch Buffin, there's a little narrow cut, and in on the right hand side there's a small little bay, and in that bay there's that's just the Coast Guard giving the forecast. And in that bay there's an Inland Waterway Association of Ireland, an IWAI mooring buoy. and we're going to tie onto that, and they're fun to tie onto every once in a while. And originally, the first time I tied onto a mooring buoy, I did it completely wrong. I'll tell you more about that later, but hopefully we'll do it the correct way this time. Now that we've learned how to do it right.
You had your dad with you the last time you done this. You have me now, so you don't
no, we've better crew. But so we're heading upriver, and we're hoping to meet a lad upriver to give us a price to get a canopy on the boat. And this is something I've been fighting against since we bought the boat. We have the boat 14 years now, and I've always been against putting a canopy on it because I just love being out in the air. I love the visibility I have. I love the fact that even if it's raining, I can still see. I don't need wipers and all the rest. And so I have been very much against it. But Marion has talked me around, as most husbands do get manipulated or convinced.
14 years.
And so we'll see. We get if the price is right, we might try and go for a new canopy, and also if the time scale is right, if it'll fit in with our plans, because
obviously I have no say in this at all, because it's all
except that we're doing it because you want it. That's all. And so our long-term plans then for the summer is
no plan.
Well, no plan, because I know you're right that boating plans always chop and they always change, and it's best to have no plan. But we have kind of penciled in that we'd like to get into Limerick, and we'd like to go around the estuary, and if we got weather like this on the estuary, it'd be absolutely lovely.
Now, guys, because it'll all depend on the weather.
It'll all depend, and it will, and it'll depend on Ardna Crusher, and there's loads and loads and loads of ifs. I've no doubt.
Weather now would be a big thing for me.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll see how it goes. It'd be nice to get into Limerick. We haven't been into Limerick in a long time.
Yeah, it's about 10 years since we were in Limerick.
Yeah, and Marion is a Limerick girl, so it'll be bringing her home once more.
Once you don't leave me there, you'll be
Don't leave it there. I wouldn't dream of it. I'd starve. So we're just approaching the cut now. We're heading north, and on the right hand side we've 2 green markers, and what we're going to do is we're going to pass those first 2 green markers, and then we're going to turn right and take it nice and gently and head in towards this marker buoy. And the plan would be to pass the marker buoy down along on this side here, because that's where I can see it easiest. Bring it down here where Marion should be able to take a rope from the bow, bring it down, pass it through it, bring that rope back to the bow, tie it off, and we should be secured. You see how all that works out.
It should be a lot of beep, beep, beep.
Not at all. There'll be no problem. It'll be a smooth military operation. There'll be no hiccups at all, I hope. We'll see. Now, so the plan is to approach the buoy here now. Marion has the front mooring rope brought down along the side of the boat, and she has a boat hook at the ready, and we're going to try and pass just to the port side, just to the left side of that mooring buoy, and then I'll try and bring the boat to a complete stop when the buoy is right here beside it where I can see it, and hopefully Marion will be able to get a hold of the ring on the top of the mooring buoy.
I hope so.
And pass that mooring rope through it. Let's see. This is made an awful lot easier by the fact that there's the ring for this mooring buoy is on a bar about a metre high, maybe a little less, but which is really great. I also have the bow thruster ready. On this boat, there's a cut-off switch that I always turn off for the bow thruster, but at moments like this, I have it on standby, ready to go, because it could be useful. So here we are, coming up very close. I'm gonna bring in closer. That's it. Okay. Right, I'll pull it up. You pass the rope through. And that's it. Right, you bring that back up now to... Hang on, I bring the camera with us. So,
it was very good, it was
no bad language. So you bring that rope back and we'll tie it onto the far side, okay? I know it's a bit difficult with the bicycles there. So just keep pulling on that. And we've bicycles and stuff here on the bow, which is making life a little bit awkward. Right?
We didn't do this when we had no bikes on board.
No. Now we need to No, we need to bring that on the outside of the railings and back in through the fair lead. Okay, so you can go up onto the bow and we'll chuck that up there. And that's it, super stuff. And bring it back in through the fair lead there at the bottom. That's right, don't worry, but we can sort out the anchor once we're tied on, love. You know, or if it gets caught up in the anchor. Just put, that's it. Lovely stuff. Hey. Now, so you might be able to make out on the mooring buoy, it just says IWAI-COS, that's Inland Waterways Association of Ireland, Carrick-on-Shannon. So it's the Carrick-on-Shannon branch of the Inland Waterways Association of Ireland. And I'm just putting one rope onto that. I don't think if I was staying overnight, I'd run a second rope just to make it a bit more secure, because when you think about it, if you're in a harbour, you'd never just tie up with one rope, you'd always put a second one on the boat. Right, next job is to bring back the drone.
Well, I'm proud of myself.
Yes, it was a good bit of teamwork. It worked well. And
yeah, no bleeps.
No, there was no bad language involved, and it did go pretty smoothly. Yeah. The first time I ever went on a mooring buoy was in Glandore Bay, the spot called Union Hall in Cork. It was myself and my father, and we did it completely wrong. I put my dad on the bow of the boat and headed directly towards the mooring buoy, with the idea being that he'd lean over the bow and hook up. But of course, the bow swoops up on it, and most of, if not on all boats. As we approached it, of course, the mooring buoy went out of sight. So I relied on my father to say, go left, go right, go forwards, go back. I think we spent about half an hour before we actually hooked up the buoy. And it was only afterwards then we learned that the correct way to do it is actually pulled up alongside the left or right, or starboard or port side, whichever one your steering position is on. So you've got the best view of where the buoy is, and you pick it up the side and then hook it up on the front. But
hard to believe that was 12 years ago.
It was 2008. Yes, yeah. And we were on our way to France 13 years ago. Yeah. But
that would have been this time.
It would have been actually this month. Would have been May.
Yeah,
yes, we left Limerick in May.
It was lovely for Harry to spend that time with his dad. Your dad.
Yeah, it was. My dad was 73 at the time, and it was great to spend quality years. He's not with us anymore, so it's nice that I have that memory of him. And if you want to read about the adventure, it's in this book, Driftwood from the Shannon to the Marne. That's available from our website, driftwood.tv/shop. And I'll put a link in the description below. It's not a how-to.
Not a how-to.
No, it's
more
not.
Of novel read.
No, but it's a good read. So guys, here we are. We're in one of the most beautiful, tranquil spots. At the moment, everywhere on the River Shannon is tranquil because there are so few boats out and about due to the lockdowns. And hopefully by the weekend, the river will be busy again. But this is a beautiful little bay. There's a small little jetty behind us for fishing boats or small boats and kayaks and whatever. We're like very sheltered. And there's a lovely forest walk. If we got ashore, if we had a dinghy now, we probably would go ashore, but at the moment we don't have a dinghy. But that is a lovely spot to go for a nice walk around there. We're sheltered here, and the sun, I didn't say it's a cloudy day today. It's not the best of weather, but look, it's better than being in work.
And the solar panels are working very well as well, aren't they?
They are. I think today was the most I've ever seen them put into the batteries. We're about, I think, 19.5 amps going into the battery. Considering I have a battery charger at home that I plug in to charge batteries, and that puts in 10 amps.
Right. Okay.
So
the solar panels are working.
Solar panels are effectively our generator. The silent generator, because I don't know about you, but I don't ever want to be that guy in a harbour who starts up a generator because he wants to watch TV3 or something. When you can do it perfectly silently with proper solar.
There's nothing wrong with TV3 now.
Okay. So guys, I think that's the end of another vlog. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and please put in a comment, subscribe, or tick the bell. It all helps. So yeah, if you tick that notification, or if you tick that thumbs up as well, it all helps the YouTube algorithm. Doesn't cost anybody anything, and it supports the channel.
Until the next time, cheerio.